Hello, everybody.
Hello. Well, thank you all for joining our the PureAir webinar and our spotlight for this month in celebration of International Women's Month, the month of March. I have the absolute pleasure of introducing our keynote person for today. Her name is Paula Westmoreland. She is I'm going to call her a pioneer in this gas phase filtration industry. She has over 20 years experience with gas phase filtration technology and systems, as well as 3.5 years here at PureAir Filtration. Real briefly, my name is Anthony Yamini. I am the VP of Sales and Business Development, and it is like an absolute honor to work with Paula, work with her at a previous company, and now working with her here at PureAir Filtration, and it's just awesome. And she definitely brings a nice light and freshness to the company, and it's just awesome to be around her. So with that said, we'll go ahead and introduce turn the floor over to Paula. I'm just got some questions for her, and I'm just ready to sit back and listen and just enjoy hearing about her experiences and her time here. So with that said, welcome, Paula.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Yeah, so it's questions for you. So I really want to start off this segment. Just tell us about your career journey to this, how you got involved in the filtration industry.
Okay.
Kind of what sparked your interest in the field.
So I guess I have to start all the way back from graduating from college. So I graduated with a business degree in IT, a double major. As you start your career, you have no idea where you're going to go into it. So I did about 7 years in IT for a hospital close to my house. After that time, I realized that wasn't quite what I was made for. I like it, but not what I wanted to do. So I started looking for something different, and I'm going to start dating myself here. I found an ad on a newspaper. And the ad talked about, I'm from Brazil originally, so the ad was for a local manufacturing company close to where I lived that was looking for a Portuguese speaking person to deal with Brazil. And I was like, wow, that was made for me. So I applied, I got the job. That company was a gas detector manufacturing company. So they did portable and fixed gas detectors. They were also a manufacturer from England. So we dealt with a lot of international representatives. We dealt with, technical, we dealt with chemistry, so that's how it all started on the chemistry side, even though chemistry is not my background.
Right.
So, but it was more on the business side of things and applications. So I did, of course, regional sales manager and technical sales and applications. So it kind of progressed from there. So then after that, we were here in Georgia, and the company decided to move to Florida. At that point, I decided I wasn't going to move with them, so I had to go look for something else to do. So at that point, I went to start looking for another job, and again, found another newspaper ad. This one it wasn't LinkedIn yet. It was something else through Indeed. It was before Indeed. Anyway.
Monster.com.
Monster.com. That's it. Monster.com. That's what it was. And it was a company similar to PureAir, that also did gas phase filtration. I was there for 17 years, and again, did, sales, regional sales manager, applications, all that stuff in the chemistry. Kind of felt like that was my call, kind of thing. Working with problem solving and teaching, because a lot of times you're dealing with different aspects of talking to an engineer and something like that. You have to kind of explain to them what it was. Again, going way back when I was in Brazil, my background, I was a teacher from 1st to 4th grade. So teaching something that I enjoy doing it.
Mhm.
So all that kind of helped, move into PureAir. So I was at that company for about 17 years. And after several acquisitions, I wasn't quite sure about my place anymore. I was kind of uncertain what was going to happen. And, even though 17 years makes you kind of your base, you don't want to change, but it was time.
Right.
It was time for that move. So I started looking for a new home and start putting some fillers out there. Start talking to friends, start talking to coworkers, and it just happened that there was a opportunity here at PureAir. So
Yeah.
the opportunity came and I took that and made that move, and here I am, it's 3.5 years later, so I'm still happy to be here. And working with all the people that I do.
Okay, awesome. So, so I was saying, so how has your role evolved since joining, PureAir?
So this is kind of funny because when I first came, this position didn't exist. So it was kind of made for me, I would say,
Mhm.
which makes you feel pretty good. But it was like a loose position, it was commercial, industrial, maybe Latin America, not sure exactly which applications of commercial industrial because there was different sales managers. So it started US commercial industrial and then Latin America commercial industrial and wastewater,
Mhm.
but not some heavy industrial. So we're just kind of seeing where I fit and where things went. One thing about working for a privately owned company is that you have a lot more flexibility.
Mhm.
So, today you might be doing something, tomorrow you might be doing something else, and it just kind of changes as needed, and there's not as much bureaucracy as into title changes and this and that. So we can kind of, be working on something today and tomorrow you just might be doing that and something else or teaching somebody else, or it just kind of changes depending on what the company needs. And right now, I'm still doing that. But I also have another sales manager working with me in regards to Latin America. So I have Roger Batten that's doing the Latin America as well as a partner for that
Okay.
application. So
So I will say, I have to agree with you as far as pure air filtration, just from my experiences, they pretty much mirror yours as well, as far as you having that family atmosphere at
Yes.
the company. It's definitely refreshing. I've worked at larger corporations, some Fortune 500 companies in the past, the more corporate structure, but
mhm,
having the more, I would say, the more personal relationships here at the company, everyone gets the chance to work
yeah,
with each other in different capacities, and everyone, interacts with everyone.
Correct.
Which is very nice. I remember, I want to briefly say, when, like, the owner of the company, we heard that you were, available and looking around. I said, oh, let me have the opportunity to go talk with her, and, see if I can
oh yeah, that's right, I remember that.
recruit you
Yep.
to Pure Air and the Pure Air culture, because I just knew you'll be an awesome fit. So
Yeah.
So yeah.
It is nice to be in a place where you feel part of the family
Mhm.
and you feel heard. So, that it makes you want to come to work every day
Exactly.
and not dread on a Sunday night going, oh, I have to go to work tomorrow, so
Absolutely.
it makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
So,
Oh yeah.
oh, sorry.
You're good. All right. Well, good deal. All right. Another question for you. So, just of course, as you mentioned, your roles expand multiple markets. You're also a team lead as well. So, as you're working in commercial, industrial, Latin America. So, what challenges or trends are specific to those industries?
So we have, so since I deal with the commercial industrial for US, and then industrial commercial and wastewater for South America. On the industrial and commercial side, you have, you don't have the bids like you do on the wastewater side.
Mhm.
So it's, you either have to be plugged in with the engineers and the customers, and they have to know what you offer for them to come to us. Or sometimes you don't get called on some certain projects.
Right.
On the wastewater side, I don't do that on the US, but I do that on, Latin America.
Mhm.
On the wastewater side, you see a lot more bids. So even though you might not be, part of that spec, you might be able to see and get your representatives to check with engineers and see if you can be plugged into that.
Gotcha.
So, but, so that's part of, how the more we have our marketing go out there and make sure that people are seeing our newsletters, that we're in social, media, the more we make people know what markets we're in, the more information we get from engineers and customers and contractors and things like that.
Mhm.
So that helps us put our name out there to what we do and how we do it, and every day, I mean, there's never a stopping moment from 8 o'clock in the morning when I come in to 5, 6 o'clock, or depending on what I have to do. Because there's always something coming in, something that we need to do, some project that we need to work on, so it's been great, so.
Yep. I always say you blink twice, it's already lunch since you walk.
That's
in.
right.
It's like-
That's right.
And you still have a lot of work to do left. I will mention that I have to agree on the municipal versus industrial commercial side. That the commercial industrial is so fast paced where a project bids or the requested quote, here's the purchase order right away.
Mhm.
Versus municipal, you bid a system, it may take months before they're starting to even look at,
Right.
putting purchase orders. So definitely a high pace. I want to ask another question. So how does air filtration vary between commercial and industrial applications?
So, not only it varies into how they go about getting a project and bidding and, I mean, or trying to find projects and trying to find equipment. Also the type of equipment and the type of, applications they have is a lot different. So on a commercial, application, you're going to see a lot of low amounts of contaminants. And you're also going to see, in general, you're going to see the contaminants being kind of the same. You're going to see a lot of outside air that you need to clean, clean outside air inside of, a museum or a library or things like that.
Mhm.
On the industrial side, on the other hand, the applications are so broad. You go from a fertilizer plant to a refinery to a pulp and paper mill to, so a chemical plant. So every single one of those are going to be totally different contaminants and usually a lot higher load for the contaminants.
Okay.
So what we might use on a commercial application, it's not the same kind of equipment that you probably will use on industrial.
Right.
So on the commercial application, we are going to use more of a modular unit. And we can go like 500 feet per minute on that,
Mhm.
because it's going to most likely be attached to a HVAC system.
Okay. Makes
And
sense.
you can go faster because the contaminants are lower.
Right.
On the industrial application, on the other hand, because the contaminants are higher, you're either going to go at 250 feet per minute if it's I would say a light industrial,
Mhm.
to 100 to 50 feet per minute if it's a heavy duty,
Right.
high industrial. So
Understood.
equipment is going to be different. The type of applications and solutions are going to be a little different. And then on the industrial, also the gases. And, every day I work with our senior chemist, and, trying to figure out what gases to use.
Mhm.
What media to use for what gases.
Right.
So you're doing that constantly,
Mhm.
so.
Okay. All right. All right. So, so I would say, so when we're working with customers, what are some of the common solutions that you help provide?
So because I deal with so many different applications, I use every single one of our medias as well as every single one of our pieces of equipment. And by being a manufacturer of both and having the broad amount of equipment that we have that we can engineer, it's great because we have, solution for 100 CFM all the way to 40,000 CFM. We also have a solution for hydrogen sulfide, very common, to methyl mercaptans, to ammonia, to, all kinds of VOCs out there. And so there's so many different applications that we can do. And that's what, for me, is the fun part of the job, because
Mhm.
no job is ever the same. Every solution is different. If you look on all of the equipment that we have sold, in regards to the type of equipment, what the configuration of the equipment is, what media was in there, what kind of material was made, every single one is different.
Mhm.
Unless you have like a specific unit that we don't change much, like a PFU of ours,
Mhm.
every single unit is going to be
Custom.
just a little different, custom made to that, for that customer.
Okay.
So,
So what are the main types of PureAir equipment systems that you deal with, or you deal with to address customer problems?
like I said, it's going to be from a small drum scrubber at 100 CFM all the way to our VTSs, our V-Bank units that might have thousands of pounds of media in there.
Mhm.
So it varies from day to day, varies from application to application, what we're trying to do. So I like to do, our solutions can be managed and figured out for each customer. So that's the part that I love about this job.
Nice.
It's
Nice.
just
Yeah, I have to agree. I have to piggyback on that as well. It's just you see someone brings a potential, solution, or not solution, but an application,
Mhm.
and just sitting there thinking about, okay, what would be the best solution for this? That's a fun,
Mhm.
fun exercise, especially once it's implemented and it works out. It's a really good feeling.
And talking about that, I guess that goes back to my IT, spot
Mhm.
where a lot of my IT jobs were figuring out what the problem was on something. So if you look at what I've done to what I'm doing now, totally different jobs, totally different things, but I'm still teaching. I'm
Mhm.
still communicating with international reps. I'm still dealing with problems and figuring out the best solution. So all that is permanent in my career for some reason. So that's what I like to do. So.
All right, so let's step base. Now, PureAir handles many applications that can be similar to each other and also deal with very unique applications. So looking back on your career, so what has been one of your most memorable or unique projects you've worked on?
There's so many. We had one that I worked on for the last 2 years. It was a fertilizer plant. So they had a lot of ammonia and hydrogen sulfide. They came to us because they needed a piece of equipment in a hurry. So what they were doing inside of their plant, they were building a new building. And that building was supposed to be their safe haven building. Where a safe haven is where all the workers go into it. If there's a catastrophic leak of some sort.
Okay.
So the customers, I mean, the employees will go in there so they can be safe until the emergency departments come in and, you know, ambulance, and they can get them out and figure out what's going on until, or shut down that shelter in place, correct? So when they called, originally it was for, they had a tent that they were going to put in that location. And they needed a rental while they were building the new building. Because that's where the employees were gonna go. It just happened that we do rent some units. This tent was for 15,000 CFM. So we work with them closely to figure out what would be the best unit that we could put out there, and we had a rental unit for that amount. We made some modifications on, you know, it was outside air, not exhausting, but pulling outside air in and all that stuff. So they got the rental. They end up getting a second rental because they needed another location. Because the plant was so big, they needed another location to put employees as well, because they couldn't go all the way from one to the other. And we also work with them in regards to their permanent unit for after the building was erected. So they would put a permanent unit there that would come on if there was something happen at that location. So based on that, we had a great solution for them, because we not only worked with them while they were building all this, but also now they have one that's permanent out there. So there's very few companies in the market in the US that can do, you know, your rental, your media, your equipment, and still have your permanent. So we had it all.
Okay.
So there was a full-blown solution for them. So that was, you know, pretty neat to see.
Okay.
So
So why was the PureAir solution the best for this unique case?
because we were able to give them the solution from beginning to end. Oops. From beginning to end of their project. So from the rental all the way to the end of the project, we're able to have the right solution for them and have the right media that they needed. So, you know, they gave us some information on what they thought was going to be released and how much, and, you know, they needed for a certain, you know, for 2 hours, and until they figure out what was going on with the employees.
Okay.
And we're able to help with that. So.
Okay.
It's not the same.
All right, good deal. Sounds like a very interesting customer.
Yes, it was.
All right, good deal.
Still is.
All right. All right. So with your broad responsibility as far as territories, he's interested in knowing more about your work travel experience. So what are some of the unique travel experiences you have come across during your time working in this industry, as far as for shows, customer visits, etc.?
So that's kind of, for me, it's kind of fun part of the job, because you get to meet so many different people at their location. At the same token, you get to see different locations. Because I'm a Latin America regional sales manager, I do travel to Latin America. So I have gone to Costa Rica, Costa Rica, Panama, and a lot of Argentina, just about, I haven't gone to Venezuela, but a lot of countries in South America. So you get to meet the cultures, you get to meet the difference between, you know, even though it's all Latin America, you might see the cultures are different from one country to another.
Right.
And the people are different, and you get to enjoy their food, which is, a great thing as well, because, cultures are so particular about their food. But also the people that live there, and you see how they live, and you see the difference between US and them, or, even Brazil and there, and, it's just like, you get that, you kind of broaden your horizon, I guess. And I just had a chance to go to Hawaii not too long ago. Thank you to you. So that was a very unique experience as well. Even though it's US, it's totally different culture. So yeah.
Absolutely. It's an experience that is hard to describe.
Correct.
It's just so remarkable. All right. All right. So, good question for you. So when working with the customer, so what are the key factors that go into a successful solution? So basically, what information do you need to recommend the best solution for the customer?
That's where the fun part starts here, because that's when you have to put the solution together for the customer. So going back to my IT job, say garbage in, garbage out. If you get bad information, you're not going to get the best solution.
Right.
So the more information we have up front about the application, the better. If we have, we need to know if they know the contaminants that they have, how much contaminant they have. What is the application? How are they running this? Are they bringing outside air in that's dirty and they're cleaning to put inside of a room? Or are they exhausting something that they are doing inside of their plant that needs to be cleaned, and EPA's after them because they're putting some contaminant air out there? Is, all the little details sometimes you don't think is important, but it's very important.
Right.
Another thing is, is the unit going to be outside? Is the unit going to be inside? Do they have size restriction? I can put a beautiful piece of equipment out there, but if it doesn't fit inside of the room that they need to, they can't use it.
Right.
So there's a lot of questions that you need to ask. One very important question that customers ask a lot is, how long is my media going to last? So our questions to the customer as well is, how long do you want your media to last? And the reason for that is, let's say a customer asks me for a specific equipment for a certain amount of contaminant. I will try to calculate for at least 6 months to a year. Well, if I do that, the unit might be huge, depending on the amount of contaminants.
Right.
Well, then that person comes back to me and says, well, I don't have that much capital money to put into that unit, but I have a lot of maintenance. Well, my solution then is different, because I can put a much smaller unit, be cheaper up front, but the maintenance is going to be a lot heavier. So it's just working with the customer, trying to figure out where's the sweet spot, not for us, but for them, in regards to maintenance, in regards to sizing, in regards to how often they want to do this, how in a place on a plant, how easy it is to get to that piece of equipment and maintain that piece of equipment. Who's going to maintain that piece of equipment? So all that information, it's like I said, the more information that we have up front, the better we are.
Right.
If that makes sense.
That perfect sense. You were telling me, you gave me a great story the other day in regards to an application where someone gave you some incorrect information.
Oh yeah.
So the media only lasted maybe a couple of days,
Correct.
and it's supposed to last a year, and then they were. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes. So so this happened to me. I tend to keep a lot of my notes. Thank goodness for that. So we talked to an engineer. We had, the parameters, what they wanted. They gave me the unit was only going to be 700 CFM. But it was, let's say, I can't remember the gas, but it was like 100 ppm of that contaminant. So, and they were going to run 24/7. So a 700 CFM unit, if I do a deep bed scrubber on that, it's going to be, you know, if I do it at 100 feet per minute, I only need 7 square feet of opening for that unit.
Right.
But because it was 100 ppm, I had to make that unit a 8 by 10, which was, I can go up to 8,000 CFM. So, and put 3 beds of unit in that just to make the unit last, or the media last about 3 to 4 months. So I had all the calculation, they gave me the parameters, I did the calculation, gave them the size and explained, again, here's the teaching part, right? Explain to them why we had to make such a huge unit, even though it was only 700 CFM. Everything was good. They bought the equipment, delivered 18 months later, or maybe 12 months later. After they installed, everything goes well. I got a panic call from a representative. And he goes, Paula, they're mad at us. They're mad at us. And I was like, why? And he said, the media didn't last. And I'm going, for how long? What's going on? So he tells me, you know, they ran a test and the media didn't last but 2 days. And I was going, I'm sorry, what?
Oh, wow.
I was like, no, I calculate, here's the calculation. Here's what I sent to them. It's supposed to last 3 to 4 months. There's something wrong. I said, do you have the test? Is there a report? Yeah, there is a report. I get the report. Now, this was 100 ppm, right? That originally. The report was 100,000 ppm, the testing that they did for an hour.
Wow.
And I'm going, I'm good. But the rep was just panicking. He was in Minnesota. He said, you need to fly over here. We need to have a meeting. I said, no problem. So I got all my emails, got the report, and didn't say anything. I just got there waiting until they told us exactly what was going on. And I passed it on my original email, what the amount was originally. I said, guys, we built this unit based on the information that you gave us. Information that you gave us was 100 ppm. You ran this test for 100,000 ppm. I'm surprised that it lasted a day. You know, I think the meeting was over in about 15 minutes.
Okay.
And the rep was happy. We never heard from that customer again.
Wow. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Garbage in, garbage out.
Absolutely.
If you don't have the right information up front, and I don't know if the test at that point was, that's just the amount that they had to do the test on, but you know, in reality was supposed to be 100. I'm really not sure because we could never get that customer to contact us back. So I don't know what happened there, but we did what we said we're going to do. The media last what we said it was going to last. It's just we didn't have the right information to start with.
Right.
So, so it was not a fun thing, but you know, it happens sometimes.
All right.
So,
well, okay. Well, this is the last question that I have for you today. So I will say, so since we are celebrating International Women's Day at the beginning of this month, or I would say, you know, for the month of March. So what would you tell the next generation of women entering this market, this gas phase filtration market, air filtration market?
I would say not only this market, but just anybody starting. Don't be afraid to advocate for yourself as a woman. You might have a lot of help, like with coworkers and bosses and people to advocate for you, but you know yourself, you're the best one that's going to be able to do that for you. So don't be afraid. Just, you know where your place is, just go for it, you know? And I guess the other thing is know what you're worth. You know, just know that you're in a place, you belong there. So don't be afraid to just say, I belong here,
That's right.
you know,
Okay.
don't push me away.
All right.
So,
Paul,
all right,
well, thank you so much. It's been an honor.
it has been to me as well.
And thank you all online as well. Anyone have any questions for Miss Paula Westmoreland?
Here's my email address and my phone number. If anybody has any questions for me or for Anthony, please do not hesitate to contact us, and we are here to help. Every single one of us are a customer service.
Right.
So we're here to help you as much as we can, so just let us know.
All right, good deal.
So we'll wait a little bit to see if